Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm back here at Ciocca Ford in Lawrenceville, New Jersey to check out a brand new 2023 Ford Bronco Sport. This is the Big Bend trim in that cactus gray paint. So let's see what this Bronco Sport in its 6 trim offerings offers you in this compact SUV market. So let's dig in. All right, the front end of this Bronco Sport Big Bend cactus gray paint. And this is what I really like. The Big Bend trim is one up from the base. So it's a fairly low trim level for the Bronco Sport, but Ford gives you those LED headlights, LED daytime running lamps, LED turn signals, and LED fog lamps up front, which I think is important for safety. You have the Bronco script right in the middle of the flat black grille, full functionality top and bottom on the grille with the mud guards down below. I think it's a pretty good looking front end for a Bronco Sport. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, wheel and tire setup on this Bronco Sport. We have a 17-inch gunmetal gray wheel with the Bronco badge in the center, looking good. Standard brake and rotor package. Tire size, this Bronco Sport is riding on Continental Pro Contact all-season tires, 225 on the width, an enormous 65 series sidewall, 17s, all 4 corners, 4-wheel drive. All right, full side profile on this Bronco Sport. Again, you have that Bronco-like boxy shape with those hard edges on all 4 corners of the vehicle. The cactus gray paint, I think, looks great on this body style. You have flat black around the wheel wells and on the lower portion of the doors to protect it from those rocks and stones you may be picking up on the trails. And the 4 doors look good. The roof rails in flat black look good. I just think they did a really nice job on the exterior design of this Bronco Sport, even though this is not a real Bronco. So let's be clear about that. The Bronco Sport came out into the Ford lineup before the Bronco did. And so they took basically a Ford Escape frame and they built a Bronco-esque vehicle on top of that. And my view is people who thought the Escape was too plain Jane, too vanilla, too mundane would be interested in something that looks more rugged, more off-roadable, and just more cool overall. So that's my view. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about this exterior design on this 2023 Bronco Sport. All right, moving on in, we do have this fake vent here on the front fender, which I do not like. We are flat black on the side view mirror, flat black on the front and rear door handle. We have a left side fuel filler cap. Up top, we got the old style antenna. That has got to go. Give me the shark fin. This is way too old for this new of a vehicle. We're color matched up top with those flat black roof rails and no sunroof. All right, the rear end of this Bronco Sport, very boxy shape, so it's a flat back here on this Bronco Sport. No roof spoiler coming off the top. We have a small rear wiper down below, which doesn't even look big enough to clear the window. That looks awfully small. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. We're cactus gray on the tailgate, Bronco Sport in the white script, the Ford badge down on the lower left of the tailgate. We have LED taillights. However, we have standard bulbs for turn signals. We have flat black on the bumper and underneath the rear bumper, which makes sense. And then we have a very small dual exhaust that comes out both sides, tucked up underneath of the vehicle. This is a 3-cylinder engine. I'm not going to rev it because you're not going to hear much, but I do find it interesting they go with a dual exhaust, but the exhaust pipes are really, really small. Let me see if I can zoom into those and let you know what I'm talking about. We're just going to pick the left side. But if you look at the diameter of this exhaust pipe right there, it looks awfully, awfully small. We are under the hood of this 2023 Bronco Sport Big Bend trim. And what are we looking at for a power plant? We have a 1.5 liter EcoBoost, meaning turbocharged, inline 3-cylinder engine, 181 horsepower, 190 pound-feet of torque. The vehicle can tow up to 2,000 pounds. MPGs, 25 in the city, 28 on the highway, 26 combined. The engine's minimum octane rating is 87, so you can run this on regular unleaded gas. As I mentioned, there are 6 different trim levels for the Bronco Sport for 2023. The first 4 trim levels, Base, Big Bend, Heritage, and Outer Banks, gets this 1.5 liter Turbo 3. If you go Badlands or Heritage Limited, then you get a 2 liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder engine, making 250 horsepower and 277 pound-feet of torque. So let me know which way you go. Either one of them, it's going to be mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. But let me know which way you would go. Would you go with one of the lower level trims and get this Turbo 3? Or would you move up to Badlands or Heritage Limited, the top 2 trims, and get the 2 liter Turbo 4? Let me know in the comments. Before we jump into the interior of this 2023 Bronco Sport Big Bend, you're going to want to know, Mike, how much does this Bronco Sport cost? Well, MSRP, the way this one is optioned, $34,055. So let's check out the interior. All right, footbox action. You have a nice large dead pedal brake and accelerator. You have the Bronco Sport all-season floor mats, and they climb up the dead pedal, which I think is a good idea to try to keep that clean and keep all the dirt and mud on the actual all-season mat, which I think is a good idea. We come to the seats. For the driver in the Big Bend trim, you get power seats with lumbar. Front passenger is manual assist. And then you have this black and gray cloth seating on the inside, which, you know, the materials are very basic, but the design is nice. They break it up with a couple of different designs on the seat. So overall, it's not a bad little seat in this Bronco Sport, especially if you're going to go off-road and you want something that's easy to clean off. I think this will help, and the bolstering feels pretty good. Door panels, we have soft touch up top, which I like. We have flat black around the black door handle, which I think looks good with a little brushed aluminum trim around it to bring it in some style. We have a nice soft armrest on the door, flat black on the switchgear. Standard sound system in this Bronco Sport Big Bend. As we come over to the dash, we have more soft touch up top, and then we have black plastic here on a nice large glove box. Infotainment screen, we have this 8-inch Ford Sync 3 system. Now, this Big Bend trim does not come with built-in nav, so all the nav will be through your phone. However, you do get wired Apple CarPlay, wired Android Auto, Wi-Fi hotspot, and those sorts of things, but your directions and everything for your maps and all your maps will come through your phone on this system. But it is a touchscreen system. However,
your vehicle on your device and select it once it is found.
I forgot to turn that down, but sorry about that. But it is a touch screen. But again, the upside is you do get Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wired, but you're going to need to use your phone, and for a lot of people that is not a big deal. Down below here, you do have your 4-way hazards, your auto stop start off for the engine, volume and tuning for the radio. We have a nice rubber tray in here for storing some things. Down further here, we do not have climate control in here. You have your standard heat and air by adjusting your fan speed here and adjusting your temperature here. But we do have 3-stage heated seats for the driver and 3-stage heated seats for the front passenger, which is a nice touch. Moving down further, we have a 12-volt a USB-A, a USB-C, and a wireless charging pad here in this Big Bend trim, so that's a nice touch. As we come down further, we have this nice brushed aluminum trim on the center console, so no gloss black plastic here. Thank you, Ford, for that. Here is the dial that's going to take you through this 8-speed automatic, electric parking brake. Here are the GOAT modes, which we'll show you when we go through the dash. 2 cup holders, and then we have our Bronco Sport key fob, fairly basic. Unlock, lock, panic button, and Bronco on the back. No remote start here on this Bronco Big Bend. As we come down to our center console, it is nice and soft with some black stitching, which is a nice touch. We open it up and we look inside, and we have 2 USB-Cs and an area for storage. So looking good. All right, backup camera action. You hit the reverse. Nice and clear with trajectory. So nice job by Ford. There are no 360-degree cameras in this Bronco Sport, but this does have the Ford Copilot 360, so you're going to get all that safety suites tech, such as blind spot monitoring, in the side view mirrors on either side, cross traffic alert, all that good stuff, lane keep assist, all that stuff as far as the safety goes, which I think is a great idea to put that in to this Big Bend trim. All right, the Bronco Sport steering wheel. We have a nice leather wrap steering wheel, nice 10 and 2 notches, the black cross stitch, Bronco badge on the horn button, looking good. Some gloss black down here, but nothing too bad. Flat black on the switchgear. On the left, here's your cruise control. On the right, telephone voice commands, and operate the digital portion of your dash. On the stalks, we have our headlights, not headlights, but our bright lights and turn signals. And on the right, we have both windshield wipers front and back. Down below here, you can pop the tailgate. You can adjust your headlights and fog lamps and brighten and dim the dash. And this is a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. We come to the dash. And this is a partial analog, partial digital dash, not expected in this Big Bend trim, where we have analog gauges for our speedometer and tachometer with a 6,500 RPM red line. We also have analog gauges for our fuel level and coolant temperature. And then in the middle, you have different menu items you can go through here on the steering wheel to give you an idea of what you need. So overall, it is a nice, small little dash, easy to read, easy to set how you want to have things set. And then as we look at our GOAT modes, of course, GOAT standing for Goes Over All Terrain, we can switch these around, and we have a normal mode with the bucking Bronco. And then we have Eco, we have a Sport mode, we have Slippery, and we have Sand. And those are the modes we have. For this drive, we're just going to leave it in our normal mode. But again, fairly simple, but very easy to understand. All right, our overhead console. We don't have a sunroof in here, but we do have LED lighting. You leave this button set in the center, and then when you open the door, the lights will come on. Close the door, the lights will dim out, just like that. Nice touch. Here is our sun visor with vanity mirror, and it detaches. And does it slide? Yes, it does, to block out that side sun. Nicely done. Entering the back seat area of the Bronco Sport, we're just going to move right on in and sit on in. Now, it's not bad. It's a little tight on the top of the vehicle to get in, but once you're in, I do have enough room for my knees. Even though it's a little tight, I have enough room for my knees. The seat is set for my driving position. Plenty of shoulder width room, plenty of headroom with this flat roof at 5'11". And if you take a look at these door panels, we have the same consistency of design, same use of materials from the front door panels to the rear door panels. So that's really, really nice. And then as we come behind the seats, we do have seat pockets, and they zip and unzip. And then you can put stuff inside, which I really like, which means if you have anything that you don't want to get dirty or wet because you're off-roading, you can put it inside here and then zip it shut, which I think is a great idea from Ford. And they do the same on the back of the front passenger seat. And the rear console, we have 2 heat and air vents, and down below, if you can see, 2 more USB-Cs. For a Big Bend trim, one up from the base, we got a lot of connectivity in this vehicle. Thank you, Ford, for that. And then the rear seats, again, the same cloth, the same use of material. According to Ford, this is the easy washable cloth interior. I don't know how they've tested it to make it easily washable, but that's what they put on the window sticker. And then as we pull down the center armrest, nice and soft, 2 cup holders. They really got you covered in the back of this Big Bend trim. Let me know what you think. I mean, as you move up in trims, this Bronco Sport can get really expensive. And from what I've seen so far, absent a heated steering wheel, this one has some pretty nice stuff in it, especially the USB availability and the availability of some power outlets. So let me know what you think in the comments. We're at the back end of this Bronco, and how do you open the tailgate? Well, we can pop it from the dash, and we can also come back here, and it's a 2-stage tailgate. So what I mean by that is when you come over here, underneath the Bronco Sport name, you have 2 options. You have glass and you have door. This is your backup camera right here. So when you hit the glass, then you can just open the glass. So if you just need to open the glass and reach in and get something, you can do that, which is nice. And then if you hit door, then you have to lift up, the whole gate comes up. So I think that's a nice deal. Manual assist, no electric, but still, that's a nice way they have that set up. Now, here are the carpeted Bronco Sport floor mats, in case you don't want the all-season ones. They look pretty nice. We have the all-weather cargo mat in the back, which is a nice touch. Underneath here, we have a spare, so thank you, Ford, for that spare. We have an all-weather, look at that, diamond design. Even though it's plastic, it looks cool, to cover up anything you may want to keep clean. You know, really nice stuff. We have a 12 volt in the back for power, which is a nice touch. We also have some lighting in the back with this button here, so if you push that button in, the lighting actually comes on at the back of each side of the tailgate while it's up, to give you some light while you're working underneath the tailgate, and it's LED. Nicely done, Ford, with that little feature. And then if you want to put the rear seats down, all you have to do is reach in here, push down on the button, and throw them forward. Now, they're not going to go all the way down, unfortunately, because we have the situation where my driving position is too far back and there's not enough room. So you kind of have to slide the seats forward to get them to fold all the way down flat, and you have to do the same with the other side. And unfortunately, the other side is a manual seat. So I'll try to move that forward a little bit more. I think I just got it. And now they'll fold down a little kick up, so it's not completely flat, but then again, a lot of room for storage. And if you need to put taller items in here, you can take out this all-weather security shade, which also has a ruler on the back to measure stuff. And you got these, I can't get them out, they're really, really tight, but you can get these stands out and actually do some work on the back of this, which I think is really, really cool. So they really got you covered in the back of this Bronco Sport. Let me know what you think about this Big Bend so far. I think Ford has provided some pretty compelling value in this Big Bend trim. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, here is the window sticker for this 2023 Bronco Sport Big Bend 4x4, 5-passenger compact SUV. So feel free to pause the video, zoom in, see everything that's optioned into this Bronco Sport. And now, let's take it out for a spin. All right, we are on some back roads here in this Bronco Sport Big Bend action. And right away, this vehicle is firm to the ride. You can feel the bumps in the road. Even with these big, massive sidewall tires, you can feel the bumps. And you get the feedback from the vehicle through the steering wheel, which I like, but not everybody will. They've definitely taken this up a notch, trying to make this feel more off-road capable, even though I don't think you're going to be able to do much more than hit the trails, trailheads, camping areas, things like that. The big rock crawling, I think you need to leave for the big brother Bronco. But, and it has a very long hood, as you can see in the camera, very squared off, very Bronco-esque in its front end design. But I got great visibility out the front, great visibility out the side glass and in the back. Side view mirrors are nice and large, so no issues with that kind of visibility. So overall, it's pretty good, but you'd have to want more of an off-road ride to really enjoy this vehicle, I think. But we're going to see how this 1.5 liter gets up and goes. I'm not expecting much. I think the 0 to 60 estimate in this engine is almost 9 seconds. So we'll see how it goes. 3, 2, 1, go. And now we're at 60, and we're zooming down the road. Not bad. Get past that biker, and then here we go, and it's not fast, but this 1.5 liter 3 doesn't do a half bad job moving this vehicle down the road. It really doesn't. Now this thing isn't a cornering king or a handling king, that's for sure, with serious roll, but that's not what this thing is about. So emergency stop from 50 miles an hour. 3, 2, 1. Nicely done. Stopped on a dime, nice and linear, no pull in the steering wheel, and the tires didn't lock up, wheels didn't lock up. So nicely done there. But again, this vehicle isn't going to be driven like some kind of maniac hooligan sports car weekender. This is going to be something people are going to take either living with on a daily basis, or they're going to take out to an off-road course on the weekend, take out camping on the weekend, set up campground, fire, use the back to do a little bit of work in, to set things up for the campsite, that kind of stuff, that kind of fun stuff. And that's what I like about this Bronco Sport. It isn't, a total bore like the Escape can be, because the Escape's just a mundane two-row compact SUV. There's nothing sensational about it. So they've taken that platform, and check me if I'm wrong, but I do believe this is on the Escape platform. They've taken that platform and they've made something more fun, more engaging to drive, and just overall, it puts a smile on your face when you drive it. At least it puts a smile on my face when I drive it. And this Big Bend trim, even though it's one up from the bottom as far as the 6 trim levels go, you get some good stuff in here. I mean, you get the 8-inch Sync 3, you get your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto, even though it's wired. You got to do your nav through your phone, but that's not the end of the world. You have a 12-volt, a few USB-Cs, a USB-A, a wireless charging pad. You got your GOAT modes. You got LED lighting on the interior of the vehicle, including the back tailgate, which is going to brighten things up if you need to be working in the back of there at dusk or in the dark. So it gives you a lot of value for the trim up from the bottom. Now, it's up for you to decide whether $34,000 for this vehicle MSRP is good value, because obviously the build costs Ford has are higher than the build costs for some of the competition. Right? Ford has legacy costs they need to cover. They have obviously United Auto Workers costs they need to cover. Not to criticize the union costs, but they are competing against brands that build in the United States, namely Hyundai, Kia from Korea, that are non-union, I believe, non-union plants that can build cheaper. So that's where the conundrum for Ford, I think, comes in for their value offering. But certainly this does bring, I believe, value for money, even at the $34,000 price point in this Big Bend trim. Now, if you want to move up in trims, you can go Outer Banks, get a lot more fancy interior and, you know, stuff like that. Maybe the nav inside the infotainment system, maybe an upgraded sound system to the B&O, stuff like that. But is that really what you want? Badlands, you're going to get the bigger engine, and we're going to do one of those vehicles once Ciocca Ford gets into 2023 Badlands or Heritage Limited to do that larger engine, see how the vehicle responds. But the 1.5 liter is a competent engine. I'd love to see what the 2 liter Turbo 4 is going to do. And I'd love to get a Heritage trim in here to give you a look at what they've done to make this Bronco look like a 1966 Bronco. Because the Bronco Sport is roughly probably the same size, maybe a little bit bigger than a 1966 Bronco. So I love that Heritage design that Ford is doing on some of their cars, and the Bronco Sport is one which I think is a great way to do it. Now, Ford sells these in good numbers. 2021, Ford sold just over 108,000 Bronco Sports. 2022, they sold just under 100,000, so a little bit less than 2021, but it's a good seller for Ford in this space. And so I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Are you a Bronco Sport owner? How do you like it? What's been good? What's not been good? If you're looking at something like a Bronco Sport, are you looking at this type of trim here in the Big Bend? Or are you looking for something more road refined like the Outer Banks? Or do you want to go with the big engine? Let me know what you think and how a Bronco Sport may fit into your lifestyle. Or are you going to go in a totally different direction, go with the competition because you can get it for less money than maybe you can get this Bronco Sport for? So let me know in the comments how you feel about this. For me, I like this vehicle. I think if you're looking for that off-road capable compact SUV, you ought to give this Ford Bronco Sport Big Bend a look. Give it a test drive, see what you think. But I think you ought to give it a look. And before I sign off, we're going to do one last merge onto the highway to see how that goes, and then we'll end the video. But again, you get a lot of body roll out of this vehicle. Not surprising, that's just the way it is built. But the steering is direct and the suspension's really good. The suspension's really good on this vehicle. So here we go. Uh-oh. And you know, here I am on the highway, and now I'm up to speed, 65, 70 miles an hour, and no problem. So a lot of confidence with this vehicle, even with the 1.5 liter turbo 3-cylinder. I have a lot of confidence that I'm not going to get blown off the on-ramp trying to get on the highway. So that's a good deal there. But I'll definitely look out for a Badlands or Heritage Limited so we can take a look at the 2 liter turbo 4 and see how that does. But I'd like to thank Ciocca Ford in Lawrenceville, especially Liz and Mike, for allowing the channel access to this 2023 Bronco Sport Big Bend trim. I'd also like to thank all of you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like. Please also consider subscribing and turning on that notification bell so you'll never miss another Shabby's Rides video. And I'll see all of you on the rebound. Take care, everyone.